Hello, I'm Malcolm Cox. We're studying the Gospel of Matthew, and today we're up to chapter 8, verses 18 to 22. The title is Foxes and Funerals. Let's read our text. When Jesus saw the crowd around him, he gave orders to cross to the other side of the lake. Then a teacher of the law came to him and said, "Teacher, I will follow you wherever you go." Jesus replied, "Foxes have dens, and birds have nests, but the Son of Man has no place to lay his head." Another disciple said to him, "Lord, first let me go and bury my father." But Jesus told him, "Follow me, and let the dead bury their own dead." The focus shifts from those who need healing earlier in this chapter to those who would follow. Are rather like these two men. Their attitude is positive, decisive, and seems pretty reasonable. But they get short shrift from Jesus. I think I'd feel a little bit put out by his replies. It's not that he shows them the door, but there seems to be little encouragement to them, given that they are taking the initiative. Doesn't Jesus want more followers? Why would he speak in such a way as to potentially dissuade people from following him? What is really going on here? We are being shown that there is a difference between the crowd, that is the interested but uncommitted, and disciples, the unreservedly committed. The disciples shared Jesus' homelessness. He sent them out with no promise of accommodation, like Luke chapter 10. When you enter a town and are not welcomed, go into its streets and say, "Even the dust of your town we wipe from our feet as a warning to you." The first man has clearly not yet counted that cost. They have also, his disciples, put family into second place. In Mark chapter 1, for example, without delay he called them and they left their father, Zebedee, in the boat with the hired men and followed him. Jesus was not controlled by his family, but put his calling from God ahead of their desires for him. Mark 3. Jesus' brothers and mother arrived standing outside. They sent someone in to call him. "Who are my mother and my brothers?" he asked. Then he looked at those seated in a circle around him and said, "Here are my mother and my brothers. Whoever does God's will is my brother and sister and mother." The radical nature of this kind of devotion can only be fully understood when tested. Jesus reveals, in this part of Matthew 8, what discipleship means by refusing the man's request to allow him to bury his father before following. This would have been pretty astonishing in any culture, but especially in Israel. It was considered a son's sacred duty to bury his father, and no other commitments could stand in the way. Is Jesus being harsh? Perhaps he is pointing out that the physically dead are beyond help, but the spiritually dead, though physically alive, are in need of help. If we are to follow Jesus, we take on his priorities, and nothing is more pressing than rescuing people from spiritual death. We'll go on to the following part of Matthew chapter 8 next time. But until then, I hope you have a wonderful day, and God bless.